Hello, this is New Wave of British Heavy Metal.com. Today is the 21st of October 2020, and if I may, in this little brief video I'd like to revisit a post I put on the website back on the 4th of October 2019, which was reviewing the debut album by Malleus. Before I get into that, the usual favour, if you wouldn't mind please, and that is to subscribe to the channel. That would be much appreciated. And anyway, back to Malleus. For those of you that are very old like I am and remember the original new wave of British heavy metal days back in the 70s and around the turn of the decade as the 80s came in, there was a band back then called Witchfind, and man, what a band they were. You know, one of the original exponents of new wave of British heavy metal. Witchfind were fantastic back then, and their remarkable debut album, Give 'Em Hell, still a classic to this day. Remarkable stuff. The bass player for Witchfind at that time was Andrew Colton, and it turned out that Andrew left Witchfind in 1980. And he almost immediately after leaving formed Malleus. Now Malleus back then it didn't work out for him. It just wasn't their time, perhaps for whatever reason. But Malleus has always been in Andrew's consciousness, I guess, if I can put it that way. Always been a bit of a pet project. And back last year, the band did release their first album, Your Nightmare Calls, and I guess you could call it a new wave of British heavy metal delayed by about 30 odd years, because most of the songs that appear on Your Nightmare Calls were written around 1980, and they still do retain that Nawabum spirit and feel to them. And Andrew, being a bit of an innovator, he's got a bit of a USP in that what he calls his 3-octave lead bass technique, which is very much in evidence on the album, and it really pushes things along nicely. Your Nightmare Calls might have been a long time coming, but it's a worthy debut for Malleus. That the songs are all quite powerfully delivered, and they've got a dark, doomy, brooding undertone to most of them, yet they are quite melodic and catchy at the same time. I know that sounds like a bit of a contradiction, but it does work. It really does. And Andrew's wife, Shaz, plays a really meaty, mean rhythm guitar all the way through. There's some really rock-solid drumming as well, and Graham Swan puts in a fine vocal performance. I've found it to be quite infectious stuff, and it reveals a little bit more with each listen. Really good stuff that rewards the effort of getting into it. And in addition to all that brooding darkness, it does, well, at least to me, give a nod, well, more than a nod, back towards the early Hawkwind years. Some of the stuff here would fit right in on In Search of Space, for example. It's got that kind of scope to it as well. And let's hope it's not the last that we hear from Malleus, because there's a lot of promise here. I enjoyed it tremendously, and whilst it does for me hark back to the Witchfind days way back then, it still sounds good today. Now, I'm an old-fashioned type, and I prefer a physical product, so that's what I got. I got the CD from their Bandcamp page. You can look at that if you like, but if you want to download it, all you modern types, then you can do that from Amazon and the likes, and there's a link below in the description to the album on Amazon, and also back to the website if you'd like to read the review on there as well. Do check it out. It's a little bit different, but it's very good, and so that new wave of British heavy metal spirit is still alive from Andrew's time in Witchfind and subsequently Malleus. So do check it out. Say links below to relevant places. And of course, as always, a little reminder that if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, that would be very much appreciated. And always, as usual, thanks for listening and take care.